evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we are on the 16th episode of our Proppy Podcast. Welcome, everybody. So we're doing our 16th episode on the 16th of May. What a coincidence, right? Actually, I didn't realize that, so Ivan told me that. So hi, everyone. My name is Vivian Chong. I am the ESG advocate of ProppyApp. I'm tonight's host for this episode of our Proppy Podcast. So before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, if you're invited here by your friends tonight, or if you're listening in to our podcast session, just to let you know, tonight, every Sunday night, we are doing our podcast sessions. So what we do for our podcast is that we invite our own fellow Proppians here, our friends, to have conversation with them, getting them to share with us their stories. These amazing friends, whom, some of them we might have never met, although we've been working very closely for months now. So this is what we do in Proppy. We get to know our fellow Proppians and inspire each other and also learn and grow together. We also wanted to record and also document our stories and our journey with Proppy. So if you would like to know more about ProppyApp, please get in touch with your friends who invited you today, or whom has shared the links with you. Come into our Saturday's sessions as we share more about what ProppyApp is, what is it that we're building. We are having both English and Mandarin ProppyApp sharing sessions and also podcasts on alternate Saturdays and Sundays. So today, other than having a live session, we are also recording this podcast to be posted in our social media channels, Facebook, Podbean, as well as YouTube. So please subscribe to our channels if you would like to rewatch the past session, or if you would like to be notified on our newly uploaded contents every week. And also some housekeeping. This is a reminder to our audience today. Please turn off your video and audio throughout the session as we're recording this podcast. So by the end of the conversation today, after the closing, you can also stay on. You can also turn on your video and audio to say hi after we close the conversation. So this evening, on our Proppy Parables, the theme is Trailblazing with the Taichi Transformer. So you must be wondering, are we talking to a Taichi master here? I have Mr. Shanne Gooi with me here tonight. Hi, Sean.
Hey, hi Vivian.
So,
good evening.
Good evening. So Sean, right? I think all of our fellow Proppians must have known him, and I dare say he is one of the most enthusiastic, most driven, most passionate and devoted Proppians. I think most of our audience here would agree with me, He is currently bulldozing through our merchant acquisition processes, along with our other amazing transformers, as we call them, because they are out there helping others to transform their businesses into the digital world, helping others to build their brands amidst this pandemic. So everybody must be wondering, Sean, if you are going to teach us a few Tai Chi moves today. Why not you introduce yourself, Sean? Actually, I wasn't the one who even thought of Tai Chi, but actually Sean is calling himself a Tai Chi. Tell us why, Sean.
Okay, thanks, Vivian. 大家好，晚上好。Just let me take a step back. I don't think I'm bulldozing the way from a transformer perspective. I think there's a lot of transformers here, my fellow Proppians who are actually doing a lot more, but everyone is extremely humble. I think that in itself is what epitomizes a Proppian. Everyone just does their focus value adds, and they do it without having to tell the whole world. So I don't want to assume the role of bulldozer, because I don't think I deserve it. But anyways, yeah, just maybe a little bit about myself as we go on. I am actually born and bred true Penangite, and I've been in Penang, born and bred in Penang. And the reason why I think they chose the word Tai Chi is because my father is Malaysian Chinese. He's Jiu Zhao, he's Teochew. And my father married my mother, who is Thai. So when you kind of mix the Thai and the Chinese together, so you get Tai Chi, right? But anyways, yeah, you get Tai Chi, but I get the best of both worlds. so that's how that whole thing came about. But it's all a matter of fun. Okay, just a little bit. When I finished my school in the U.S., I actually was one of the few very lucky ones that got a scholarship to attend my high school and my college in the US. I used to play tennis. I know it doesn't show.
It's
I'm
a
older.
scholarship for tennis.
Yeah, it's actually it's a
right.
scholarship for tennis. I was once an aspiring tennis player, and our National Sports Council did basically handpick a couple that had the
Wow.
potential. But of course, back then the US dollar was extremely strong, and so without, I need to also give credit where credit is due. My parents were very instrumental in also coming up with the funds as well, because as I mentioned, US dollar was extremely strong at that time, right? So yeah, I was extremely lucky to get the scholarship, and I spent my high school as well as my university in the US. So I did. I
How
graduated.
old were you then when you went to the US?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. Actually, I was only about 13.
Wow.
I left
Yeah,
when I
because you
was
mentioned
13.
high school. It's like, wow, you were very
Yes.
young when you went there.
Yes, don't remind me. It's that was a very long time ago. Yes. Yeah. So again, it's part and parcel a life journey, and so from then I was able to finish my education in the U.S. and I came back. I came back. I think one of the main reasons why I came back is because I think my parents felt as though I was away from home too long. They are very, very concerned that I might actually marry a Caucasian lady. So that is one of the reasons.
Yeah, actually that might happen.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why they said, "Hey, you better come back, huh? You better come back." So I came back in late 1996, and Penang being more towards electronics and EMS manufacturing. I actually joined an MNC called Dell Computers. That was my first job, and my whole career has actually been involved with multinational companies, and yeah. So I probably didn't want to go too much into the details because as old as I am, I think I'll take the whole night to explain everything. So in a summary, yeah, my most of my career has been with multinationals.
Wow. So you've been, I came to know that you also went to many big cities as well. You went to Shanghai, you went to
right.
Beijing.
Yeah,
Right.
it's with, yeah, I was actually, sorry to cut you. Yeah, I was actually also, extremely fortunate when I was doing my second stint with Intel. I was fortunately enough to be invited to go to Shanghai because that's where the whole team was kind of gathered. So my wife and my daughter came a year later, but I was there actually a year earlier. So I spent 8 years in Shanghai.
8 years.
And
Wow.
yeah, and I also spent 3 years in Beijing as well. So all in all, my time in China has reached 11 years, which went by really quickly as well. Yeah. So actually, when I went there, my daughter was only 2 years old, and when we came back, she was basically a lot more Chinese than she is Malaysian. So,
But she was born here, lah.
yes, absolutely. Yes, yeah. She was born in Penang. She had only about 2 years, and then we took off to China. Yeah.
So when did you come back to Malaysia?
Yeah, I came back. So with a lot of us who are Proppians here, I came back for Chinese New Year in 2020. with the expectation of actually going back.
Mm-mm.
But then when the pandemic hit, it hit quite hard. And then China's borders basically closed out, and we never went back. And then I think it was at that particular point, it was actually quite a major inflection point for me and my family. We made a very big decision that we would actually stay in Penang, because I think my wife and I, we're strong believers that sometimes when one door closes on you, another door opens. And I think we didn't fight really hard to try to go back, because we felt as though this could be something more interesting that is kind of lined up, and it'll be funny when we talk later on, because
so
came about.
So that's when you were told about Proppy lah, is it? Who introduced you to Proppy?
Like, no one, the story? No one important. I'm just joking.
He must be here today.
So he is. Will Fang actually introduced me to Proppy. Will is my colleague and friend when we were in Beijing, because both of us are actually involved in the Malaysian Chamber of Commerce and Industry in China. Will, of course, is the chairman. I am the Secretary General. And so, Will was pinging me late January. He's like, hey, you have to join this Proppy podcast and check it out. This is something extremely interesting. And so what happened was that I joined the second session, and then followed by Will giving me a little bit more information about what's going on with Proppy, right? But actually taking 2 steps back, in actual fact, I met CC, I met Wilson in 2018 in Beijing. He was actually in Beijing, and it was actually Will who organized a dinner for us to meet up. And then back then, I was also beginning to get to know about cryptocurrencies and Bitcoins. And here, is a friend of Will's. He's the ambassador of blockchain. He's the ambassador of Bitcoin. I go, if I miss this opportunity, then it's an opportunity of a lifetime to learn and understand, right? So and also just to continue on, discussion is that as Will introduced me to Proppy, I actually spent some time talking to Wilson as well. Ironically, it wasn't about Proppy. It was actually about something else. My brother was involved in cryptocurrencies, and I wanted to see whether or not Wilson would be kind enough for my brother to give him a call and have a chat, right? And I just shot in the blue, because by this time, Wilson is a major celebrity, and the only thing that I did was I sent him a WeChat message, and this is a very good learning for everyone as well. When you meet someone famous, make sure you take a picture with him, right? So I took a picture with him. I actually sent
him.
I sent the picture to CC.
Okay, that's a good idea.
I told CC, I think you might not remember who I am. But by the way, here's a picture that we took together. So I still don't think he might have or might not have remembered, but CC has a very good memory, right? So he said, I remembered, we had dinner, we had drinks later and everything. So and then that led to the whole sharing of Proppy, because Will also informed me that Wilson CC was actually one of the key founders. And so we chatted, right? So
what was the first first impression? When you first heard about Proppy, what were you thinking?
It was kind of overwhelming, because it actually took me 2 months to do my own due diligence.
Yeah.
I looked up, Proppy, and I was trying to understand, what is happening, right?
Yes.
And how is Proppy being received? I asked some of my friends, they're like, no, we don't know Proppy. So I think at that time, basically, the sessions I had actually with CC actually kind of set the tone, in my opinion, right? And of course, on and off, I also kind of talked to Will as well. But I definitely believe that the podcast that we've been doing since January has been a major contributor as well. In trying to better understand what Proppy is all about, right?
Yeah. So when you done your homework and everything, so can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why Proppy? What do you see in Proppy? That when we say that Proppy is going to be a game changer for the property industry, why do you think so?
So it works out well. There's two main turning points for me. When I came back from China, one of the major things for me is that I couldn't decide what I was going to do next, right? I was thinking that maybe I would continue on with a small trading company. Maybe I would get involved in more of the CSR things, giving back to the community. But then one of the key things is that I was able to better understand that a lot of people are actually having a tough time in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to see it unless you are physically here in Malaysia. And for me, I'm in Penang, right? So when I was doing my renovation, our house that we've actually had for many years and we never stayed, that's when I actually found it extremely challenging to find merchants, to find people that would be able to come and do the work, whether it's the tiling, the plumbing, the ceiling, everything, right? Even the cement works and stuff. And maybe I was just being very ambitious. I said, no, we don't need a main con, because if we had a main con, he would be taking a large chunk of commissions on top of everything. So I said, what the heck? I have time. So I became the main con. And so from that perspective, I learned that in order for me to find good people to do work, it was almost impossible. Unless, of course,
that's true.
I have
So
friends.
how did you find them, these merchants?
Yeah, it's actually through word of mouth, asking my parents, asking my friends, my fellow Penangites who have been here for a while. They will say, oh yeah, you can go with this guy, but then he might not be as good. So you might want to have a backup person.
Exactly right.
What's going to happen? So true enough, we got 3 plumbers before we settled on the 4th plumber. And even the fourth plumber might not be the last plumber that we'll have. Right? So, and that's just only one thing, right? And we've got so many different things. But and I think the second key point is that during the time when I was trying to decide what I would be doing moving forward, is that I would need to explore investing in myself. So what I did was I had 2 things that I really wanted to do. One was being a barista. I've always wanted to know how to make good coffee. So I was deciding, do I get my barista certificate now? And then the second thing that I really wanted to do was to be a real estate agent, because I thought that's something that I could carry on when I get a little bit older, which I'm already old, but when I get a little bit older, it's something that I would be able to still do and add value as well, right? So these are the 2 factors. But what really turned the page on Proppy is that there's 3 main factors, because as age is catching up, we tend to be a lot more concerned about the pain points, right? The pain points that people are suffering, right? Right now, the Penang, as you know, is known for hawker food. Some of the really good hawkers are actually, closing down. And so even some of the people that provide services, they're closing down because no one's able to sustain. This is unprecedented.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the pain point is one area that I also want to consider when I'm about to embark on something, right? Does and in this case, does Proppy solve pain points? Check mark. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Right. Okay. The second thing is, does it make all of us and I won't take the entire Malaysia. I'll say Penang, right? Does it make Penangites have better informed decisions? Are they able to make better informed decisions? Whether it be someone that you need in renovation, maybe it be someone that you need in the medical side of things, consultations, so we don't have a lot of that. Where do we go and find all of these things, right? So check mark number 2.
Yeah.
With Proppy, I would be able to make more informed decisions. Okay? And I think the third thing for me is as we are able to make better informed decisions, our whole society gets better.
Yeah. I think we can boldly say Malaysia.
Yes.
No, yeah.
Absolutely.
We can.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's why I think these 3 check marks, was basically the thing that said, look, I think Proppy definitely has a major future, and it would make a major impact onto Malaysia and fellow Malaysians as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you how long have you joined us?
Wow.
Actually, Proppy is a very, very new, right? It's a very new company. It's a very new app. And we've only started since last year end, last October. It's only been a few months, and we are in this we have this whole team already built up.
Right.
How long have you joined
I
us?
think I've been with we have been with Proppy for 3 months now, somewhere around
3
there.
months.
3 months, yeah. And because and I'll admit it, I'm not a super app guy, but I use apps because when we're in China, you need to know how to use apps. If not, then you'll be kind of left behind, right? So, but I've never been involved in a company that's developing an app, right?
Yes.
So that in itself was something that was very exciting for me. So I mean, for fellow Proppians here, right? This is what I did. I just said that I told my wife that, hey, my wife is better known as the boss, right?
Yes, the boss.
I told the boss that I would just jump in. I would just jump in because at that point I already made my commitment to join. I would jump in and I would get lost in everything that's happening, right? But of course, when you get lost or when you try to when you try to add value, you need to kind of find yourself. And if you don't jump in, you'll never find yourself because you'll never know which areas that you can add value, that you can contribute to. So that to me is very key. And I think CC also gave me a marching order. It's like, you can either sit there with your investment, and most probably you might make pretty good money at the end of the day, or you can make history. Let me give the itu kali. You can make history by getting involved and being part of what makes history. I mean, and that to me is a no-brainer. I'd rather be part of this entire process and being able to add value and be involved rather than just kind of wait for it to happen, right? So that for me is key.
Yeah. So and here in Proppy, right? What I really love, the culture and the working environment is that we why am I in? I also jumped in. Actually, I was pushed in, to be honest. I was also standing at the edge, So I was kind of pushed in. But I would have to say I really love working together with this bunch of people. We know other than working with each other in Proppy, we actually learn from each other, and also we grow together. Someone will have your back, and then you will also back someone as they need you, right? So
Right.
we always say, Proppy is a family by choice, thicker than blood. But you are Shanne, you even brought in your family here. You brought in your boss here, and you volunteered your daughter, to help us with our writing and video, some work. You volunteered your wife, even your nephew. Shanne is like, nah, take him. He can do this. She can do this.
2 for 1, 2 for 1.
Yeah. So tell us, Shanne, what drives you in doing this? Putting all your resources in, even volunteering your family in.
I think it's a very good question, Vivian. Even before I talk about that is, I've spent more than half of my life with multinationals. And I've told this to Will, and I've told this to CC and a few of us here as well, is that it was unfortunately very toxic environment. It's a very toxic culture because most of the companies, the multinationals I worked with are American multinationals. And why it's toxic is because they're pushing everyone to basically go after one or two positions, right? That's the hierarchy of multinationals. It's multi-level, right?
Yes.
And as much as I would still say this, that I learned so much, a lot of my training, a lot of my of what I am today as well, I've learned from the multinationals. So that definitely, let's be honest, it's a great training ground. If I had to do it again, I would definitely do it again. Okay, I would definitely do it again. But I think one thing that kind of kept me up at night is that I kept thinking, if I were not to be in a toxic environment, what would be the potential outcome? Would I be able to become a director, a senior level person, a high level management person? Yeah, I think that has always been, at the back of my mind, right? What could have been, what might have been. But then, that's in the past. So when I joined Proppy, and I couldn't agree with you more. I don't look over my back. I don't kind of read things in between the lines, or kind of think that, when he says this or when she says this,
is
do they
there
mean this, or do they mean
any
that?
other meaning behind,
is there any
what
hidden
they're
meaning?
saying?
Correct. Yeah. And the answer is no. Whatever Will has shared to me, whatever CC has shared to me, it is what it is. It's family by choice.
Yes.
Everyone we work with has a great mindset, has a great attitude, and it's for one simple goal, right? Which is to make Proppy a bigger part of everyone's life, with better informed decisions, to be able to solve your pain points, and to make everyone better as a society, right? So that's the reason I tested the water first before I actually jumped in. Of course, and then that's why I involved my boss, as well as my daughter, and as well as my nephew, because I think it was Dr. Max, Ivan, and I think as well as CC. They sent 3 messages out, right? If anyone knows someone with this background or that background, please volunteer, right? So again, I think another phrase that we use a lot is first right of refusal, right? The first right of refusal. Which means if you keep quiet then basically you're refusing. So for me, I didn't really understand that too much. Maybe I was also lucky. So I just said that, okay, here's my daughter. If she speaks Chinese, if she opens up her mouth, you would think that she's from China.
Yeah, she
China.
has definitely the sweetest voice.
That's,
our videos are coming soon to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's because when you talk to her, she was very polite. But she's a typical northern China person, loud, and she is eloquent, and she knows what she wants. And for my wife as well. I'm always transparent with my family, no matter what role I take or whoever I work for. They know very well what I do. They know exactly what the industry is, and I always try to get them involved. Whether it's a family day, whether it is for me to go to an events day together, they are always involved, right?
So we'll definitely get Mrs. Gooi, the boss, to come into our podcast soon.
Yeah, I think she'll be interested, but of course she's anyways, that's for you to think about. Yeah. So yeah, those are the things. It's very important for me to be involved and my family to also know. And if I can get them involved, why not? Right? It's the best of both worlds. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely they are definitely very good addition to us, to the family, and also as I mentioned, our podcast today, our podcast is a place to share our stories. So we want to record, to document our stories of our fellow Proppians, and Sean, you have achieved so much. You were an ex-national tennis player. You received scholarships, right, to study in the US, and almost got married to a Caucasian lady. It's the boss at the back. So sorry. And you've worked with multinational corporates. You work in big cities in Shanghai, Beijing, and even Indonesia, right? And you have your lovely wife, definitely the sweetest daughter. So I have to ask, what or rather, which is your proudest moment?
Yeah, I think when you ask me that question, I think for me, it's always has something to do with the life and birth, right? For me, I think the proudest moment was when my wife gave birth to my daughter. I think that is the proudest, because as a going to be father or new father, right? The first thing the nurse would tell you is, hey, you, Mr. Gooi, your daughter, who's Mr. Gooi? So I was like, yeah, me. And she's like, yeah, can you come? And I was like, yeah. And then she drops, Olivia basically on me. I'm like, yeah, I think that that time I was like, okay, wow, so small, right? It's like, two sizes of a big papa or something like that, right? So it's like that. And then, being able to kind of, everything sunk in at that particular point, because, immediately I was a father. Immediately a lot of our dreams, a lot of our needs and wants has to be put on hold, because, we have new commitments now. So I would definitely say, without a doubt, that I think my proudest moment would be when Olivia was born. Yeah, that would be.
Wow. Well, what about challenges? What are the biggest challenges that you've faced, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Well, I think every day is a challenge. I think to be very honest with you. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been in sports for quite a long time. I played competitive tennis. I played college tennis. So a lot of sports actually has helped me to become a lot more mentally tougher. So when I go through things, challenges, I used to take everything on by myself. I always figure, because I left home when I was very young. So whatever challenges or things that I would encounter,
you handle it
I would handle it myself. but I think it's as I got married and as a family man, that isn't the best way to look at things. So coming back to your question, right? I think the biggest challenge for us was when we came back for Chinese New Year and we weren't able to go back. That to me was the biggest challenge that I've ever had to face. There are others, but I think that was one that kind of stopped in immediately because I didn't know whether this was it. My career at that point in time in Beijing, I really loved the job that I was in. And it was an industry that I liked very much. It was in lifestyle and travel, and I loved that a lot.
Oh, you were supposed to be transferred to Indonesia as well, right?
No, we were offered, but then we still decided that Beijing was the best place to be.
Right.
Yeah. So that for me and for us as a family, that was the toughest challenge of all because we had to quickly figure out, did we have sufficient funding to keep us here, even though the lifestyle in Malaysia was fairly more affordable than it was in China. Do we have a roof to stay on, and then above our heads, what's Olivia going to do with her education because she's moved from there and suddenly here? What was I going to do to bring funding, for our livelihood, right? So yeah, just these four things alone.
Wow.
Yeah, those are really major challenges. Yeah. So that would be one of the top challenges that I've encountered.
Wow. What about now current, like what you are doing in Proppy? You are one of our transformers, what are the current challenges that you're facing in Proppy?
Yeah, so actually, just so that we are also very clear, I have no idea what being a transformer was. I got a call from Will. Will says, hey, there's this thing called transformer, it's with merchants, just jump in and then figure out the rest. And I was like, transformer, no. So but that's going back to my earlier points, right? I said, what the heck? Yeah, let's just jump in and see how things go. And so being a transformer now, my days are a lot more tougher. I am a quite detailed planner, so I like to kind of think about, okay, how am I going to work this out? Who am I going to call? Will I get enough sales agents? Would I be able to train them? Who are the immediate merchant friends that I know? How would I add value to them? So actually daily now, thanks to this wireless earphone, my ear is still intact because I have on average about 4 or 5 calls a day, trying to share to potential sales agents, potential merchants about what we are intending to do. But to answer your question, it's been quite awesome, actually, to be honest. Just trying to figure out things. I wake up with a new sense of urgency. I feel like just like my previous job in Beijing, I wake up wanting to go to work. I wake up thinking about what are the things I can do that I can continue to add more value. It doesn't always necessarily mean that I have a solution. Okay? It doesn't necessarily. But then the thing is that I think with my experience, I think sooner or later I will get it. But it doesn't guarantee that I will be successful. However, we are family by choice. If me as a transformer, if I fail, I wouldn't take it lightly, right? It's kind of like I feel as though I've kind of failed.
I think you will also have a family here to back you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's why I probably can't fail. It's almost difficult for me to fail because
Exactly.
everyone has my back. I don't want to disappoint fellow Proppians. So how do you actually not be successful, right? That's the key thing. Yeah.
So today we are also here, to talk about our stories and also our dreams. So what is your dream, Sean?
So when I tell you my dream, right, you guys are everyone's going to think, this guy is nuts. This guy is just crazy. Right?
No, this is what we want to hear.
Okay. Used to be my dreams was, material things. Now having a really, I love, I'm a car freak, just a typical guy, right? So I love having fast cars. I never owned a fast car, but I escaped.
Yes.
I escape during the weekends because my wife would be like, "What are you doing looking at that car? You can't afford it." I go, "Yeah, but don't disturb me. It's my time to really enjoy, dreaming about things." But I don't want to share about materialistic things because it doesn't matter right now because
it doesn't matter. It's your dream.
It doesn't because we're in the pandemic right now, right? Every day, if we are able to wake up and we appreciate what we have, I think it's a lot more. There's a lot more value. It's a lot deeper than just having material things. So for me, I go at. So I think this is the right time to use the word bulldozer. I will bulldoze my way with Proppy. So Proppy is my dream. Proppy being successful with our entire family, thicker than blood. That is my dream. Seeing that Proppy become successful, getting to where we say we will be, holding everyone accountable. That to me is my current dream, and I don't want to look too far away, because that personally it is what it is, and that is my dream, to be very honest with you. Yeah.
Yes. I to be honest, I have the same, almost exactly the same thought in mind. I would say, of course, material things, everybody would have, the same kind of probably desire or urge towards those, material things. But other than that, I think it's just part of the dream. It's not the end goal of what I would have wanted. The end goal will be, I would also say, Proppy, having Proppy out there, building something big, disrupting, being the game changer, disrupting this not to say disrupting, helping this world, having Proppy out there. Yeah, that is the dream lah.
I mean, Vivian, you're an entrepreneur yourself, right? I mean, I probably think that you can easily have worked for someone or just, gone ahead, take a bigger role, bigger title, and a bigger salary with someone. But you chose to be an entrepreneur, and you are what you are today is because it's meaningful to you, right? I'm sure what you do is meaningful, and just like all of us here today, Proppy will be meaningful to a lot of people who don't know it yet. But when they do, it would be such an awesome situation that we as Proppians has made their lives better, right?
Yes.
And that and when you get to my age, right, when you're older, you'll know that bringing people a better life, more meaning in their lives, is a lot better of a dream than
it's also bigger of a dream.
Absolutely,
much bigger.
Yeah, you influence people in such a different way, that everyone is just a lot better around you. It used to be, I have a lot of friends who have been so successful, and they would come back to our small little island, and they'll be like, hey, come out for dinner, and we'll go to like a really good restaurant, we eat really good food, have really good wine or something. And then he's telling us, oh, I've made so much money, I've done this, I've done that. And at the end of the night, it was basically him kind of letting everyone know successful one. And all my friends that have been with us, sorry, are we still there?
Yeah, I think just now you were broken a
Okay.
little
No,
bit.
I was just thinking that
Yeah.
wouldn't it be nice for us to have dinner and drinks, and then all my friends would be part of the Proppy effect, and we've made a meaningful life for everyone. And I think that would actually be a better
Definitely.
outcome than just kind of like a show thing, right? So
Definitely. Yes, thank you. I think it's always inspiring, listening to dreams. I also think that we live in an era, where we actually hold ourselves back, and then dreaming big is almost like a taboo. People even laugh at big dreams, or when we say we want to disrupt the industry, we want to be the game changers. People don't dare to dream big, right? But actually, I think
during this last 3 months, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my friends. I think I had this discussion with Yvonne as well, right? I think a lot of ways I'm quite similar to Yvonne, is we wear our emotions on our sleeves. So when I go talk to a friend and I talk to him or her about Proppy and everything, and it's kind of get the sense of feedback and the responses and everything, and I won't lie, majority of them hasn't been very positive.
Yes.
Just simply because maybe the early few months I didn't do a good job in really describing what Proppy is all about. And that's why I try to jump in, I try to get lost, because I believe that as I'm actually being involved, I learn more. And when I learn more, I would be able to articulate what Proppy is all about, right? And now I kind of approach, I'm still not perfect. I still try to approach it from different angles. And I continue to learn what we do, and if we can share some of these ideas, I share them out, right? I think it's very important for them to kind of know what the future looks like. And I wouldn't be a good friend if I'm not sharing these things. But a lot of times when we actually don't get a good outcome when we talk to our friends, one thing I always leave them with, and if they are actually good friends, is that I won't let you go that easily. I will come back to you again in the very near future. We will talk again, okay? Because I won't give up on you that easily. And I know that this is good for you. And I know that this can actually influence your life and your family. So I won't give up that easily. And I'll come back and we'll circle back again. Maybe we have a char kway teow or curry mee together, and we'll talk about it. Because I believe 3 months later, I would be a lot more more astute, a bit more able to share what Proppy is about and the exciting things that we have coming up.
There are so many things that we are coming up with, actually.
Yeah, it's
so many.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's just
crazy.
Amazing. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. And I will say this also in 中文 as well. 希望各位 Proppy 可以多多加入我们的公司的活动。
Yes, our activities.
对，我们有各种各样的活动。虽然是有些Proppy 觉得这些方面不适合我，可是你如果你没有加入的话，那你肯定不会知道你有没有这个能力去帮忙，对吗？So I really think that
yes, at least sharing our social media channels, sharing the Facebook, YouTube links as well. It is also something you can help contribute as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because it's just as much everyone's company as it is everyone else's, right? So yeah, I hope that more Proppians can get involved.
Yes. Yes, thank you. And if anyone, or our own propians, if you are like having doubts, I would just have to tell you, like, when we always, in our sessions, or we talk about dreams, actually this is exactly the right time for us to dream big. Actually, we talk about living in a world of modern technology. We talk about artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. We talk about big data. Even that the world is shrinking, and then the cities, the industries, and the economies, they are growing more quickly than ever. We boast about living in this very fast growing industrial revolution, right? But we are holding ourselves back from dreaming big. Many people don't even have the courage to dream, let alone pursuing them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But translate your dreams to getting involved, right?
Yes, get
Because
involved.
if you don't get involved, then the dream will never come true.
Yes, thank you. So today, right, I think I want to propose to all of you. This is not a business proposal. This is to all our propians and also non-propians. I'm giving you an assignment. I'm a propian and I'm also a teacher. So happy Teachers Day to myself.
Happy Teachers Day, happy. But actually, I
Yes.
think for teachers, every day is a Teachers Day, right? Just like mothers and
Yeah, kind
fathers.
of.
But
Kind
happy
of,
Teachers
yes.
Day. Happy
Thank
Teachers
you.
Day.
So I'm saying this, I'm giving you an assignment, all of you. If you don't have a dream, maybe that's why you're not fully involved. If you don't have a dream, right, think about what you want in life. Write down maybe what you want to achieve and start chasing your dreams. So yeah. So I think I need to close today's session with this one note to you. As I was saying just now, this is actually exactly the right time for us to dream big. So yeah, and thanks to our Taichi transformer, Sean, for being here with us tonight. And
Thank you.
yes, thank you, and sharing with us your very inspiring stories and your dreams as well. And for
Very much
those
welcome.
of you, thank you. For those of you who are listening in, please follow and subscribe to our social media channels if you want to get to know us more on Facebook, YouTube, and Podbean as well. And if you have any feedback, questions, please do get in touch with us. And also, please stay on after this live session to just come in and say hi as well. We will proceed to close this conversation. Okay. Thank you for staying on with us. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation today with our Taichi transformer, our true blue propian Shanne Gooi. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Good night.